For centuries, we pictured the Amazon as the last great wilderness, an impenetrable, untouched jungle, a green ocean where nature reigned supreme and complex human societies simply couldn't exist. This idea, the myth of the pristine wilderness, has been one of the most enduring stories about our planet. But it's a myth that is now being shattered, not by machetes, but by lasers from the sky. Today, we're peeling back the canopy to find a lost world of cities, highways, and millions of people, a discovery so profound, it's forcing us to rewrite the history of the Americas. Welcome to G Fun Facts Online. What if I told you that long before the pyramids of Egypt were built, and centuries before the Roman Empire, sprawling urban centers thrived in the heart of the Amazon? This isn't science fiction. It's the reality being uncovered by a technology called Lidar, which is essentially giving archaeologists X-ray vision to see through the jungle. The results are staggering, revealing that the Amazon was not a wilderness, but a colossal, human-shaped garden. For decades, archaeology in the Amazon was a brutal, painstaking process. Researchers would spend entire careers hacking through the dense undergrowth, finding maybe a few pottery shards here, an earthen mound there. This difficulty fed a powerful academic theory called environmental determinism. Championed by influential archaeologists like Betty Meggers, the idea was that the Amazon's notoriously poor soil and challenging environment made it impossible to support large, settled populations. The story we were told was of small, nomadic tribes living a simple existence, forever at the mercy of the jungle. This view is now being completely overturned. The game changer is Lidar, which stands for light detection and ranging. Imagine an airplane or a drone flying over the rainforest, firing millions of laser pulses at the ground every second. Most of these pulses bounce off the leaves and branches, but some sneak through the gaps and hit the forest floor. By measuring the time it takes for these pulses to return, scientists can create an astonishingly detailed 3D map of the ground itself. They can then digitally filter out all the trees and vegetation, effectively deforesting the landscape on a computer screen to reveal what lies beneath. What they're finding is not a flat, natural jungle floor, but a landscape covered in the geometric scars of civilization, platforms for houses, plazas, raised roads and canals, all perfectly preserved under the green canopy. One of the most spectacular finds comes from the Upano Valley, in the foothills of the Ecuadorian Andes. Here, archaeologists led by Stephen Rostain have used Lidar to uncover a vast network of cities that began around 500 BCE. That's 500 years ago, making it the oldest and largest urban civilization found in the Amazon to date. The scale is hard to comprehend. We're talking about more than 6,000 rectangular earthen platforms, which were the foundations for homes and ceremonial buildings. Some of these platforms are huge, up to 150 meters long and 8 meters high. They aren't just scattered randomly. They are clustered into at least 15 distinct settlements, including 5 major urban centers, spread across 300 square kilometers. The density and organization rival the famous Mayan cities of Central America. And connecting these cities was an incredible road network. These weren't simple footpaths. Lidar revealed wide, straight avenues, dug deep into the earth, stretching for tens of kilometers. They even have right-angled intersections. This speaks to a society with sophisticated planning, engineering, and a powerful central authority capable of organizing massive public works projects. The people of the Upano Valley, associated with the Quilamope and Upano cultures, were also master farmers. The Lidar maps show extensive hillside terraces and drained fields, all fed by a complex web of canals. They leveraged the fertile volcanic soil of the valley to grow maize, beans, and sweet potatoes, enough to support a population estimated in the tens of thousands, perhaps even more. This civilization flourished for nearly 1,000 years, until sometime between 300 and 600 CE. Its decline might be linked to eruptions from the nearby Sangay volcano, a dramatic end to a forgotten urban age. Thousands of kilometers away, in the Llanos de Mojos, a vast savanna in Bolivia that floods seasonally, another lost civilization has emerged from the data. Here, the Casarabe culture built a different kind of society between 500 and 1400 CE. Researchers call it low-density urbanism. Lidar surveys revealed two massive central sites named Kotoka and Landavar. These centers featured monumental conical pyramids, some over 20 meters tall, all built on artificial terraces to keep them above the floodwaters. These were not just empty ceremonial sites, they were the heart of thriving communities. What's truly remarkable about the Casarabe is their mastery over water. They engineered a massive hydraulic system of canals and reservoirs. This infrastructure allowed them to control the seasonal floods, store water for the dry season, and irrigate their crops year-round. This level of water management supported intensive maize agriculture and a large, stratified society with a clear political hierarchy, what some would call an early state. The Casarabe culture also vanished around 1400 CE, a century before Columbus arrived. The leading theory here is climate change, a series of prolonged droughts that their sophisticated water systems simply couldn't handle. These discoveries are forcing us to completely reevaluate early historical accounts. When the Spanish conquistador Francisco de Orellana first navigated the Amazon River in 1541, he wrote of seeing large cities, glistening in white, and a riverbank teeming with people. For centuries, historians dismissed his accounts as fantasy, the wild exaggerations of an explorer trying to impress his king. Now, it seems Orellana was telling the truth. He was likely witnessing the last embers of these great civilizations, just before they were extinguished forever. The evidence of human influence goes beyond cities. The very soil and trees of the Amazon bear the imprint of its former inhabitants. Scientists have found that the forest surrounding ancient settlements has a much higher concentration of domesticated plants, like Brazil nut and cacao trees. This wasn't an accident. Pre-Columbian peoples actively managed the forest, creating what we would now call agroforestry systems, or massive forest gardens. They cultivated a huge variety of crops within the forest, creating a sustainable and productive environment that supported them for millennia. Perhaps their most incredible invention was terra preta, which means black earth in Portuguese. Most Amazonian soil is acidic and nutrient-poor, making large-scale agriculture extremely difficult. To solve this, ancient Amazonians developed a recipe for supersoil. They systematically added a mix of charcoal, pottery shards, bones, and other organic waste into the ground. Over time, this created a dark, rich, and incredibly fertile soil that is still productive today, thousands of years later. Terra preta wasn't just a garbage dump. It was a deliberate, sophisticated form of environmental engineering. It allowed for permanent settlements and supported huge populations. And it had a remarkable side effect. The charcoal in terra preta is extremely stable, meaning it locks carbon in the soil for centuries. These ancient farmers were unintentionally practicing a powerful form of carbon sequestration, a technique modern scientists are now studying as a tool to fight climate change. The rise and fall of these societies is intricately linked to the climate. Their development was likely made possible by a period of relatively stable and wet climate during the Holocene epoch. But as we saw with the Casarabe, climate is a double-edged sword. Shifts in rainfall and long droughts could destabilize the very agricultural systems that allowed these civilizations to thrive. Some evidence from fossil pollen suggests that parts of the Amazon were already experiencing population decline and reforestation starting around 1200 CE, centuries before Europeans arrived. This could have been caused by regional conflicts or pandemics, likely made worse by environmental stress from climate change. But the final, catastrophic blow came in the 16th century. European ships brought not just conquerors but diseases. Smallpox, measles, and influenza to which the indigenous peoples had no immunity, ripped through the continent. This event, known as the Great Dying, was one of the worst demographic disasters in human history. An estimated 90% of the population of the Americas perished. The great cities were abandoned, the canals fell into disrepair, the roads were swallowed by vegetation. Within a few generations, the jungle reclaimed the human-made landscape, and the memory of this vibrant world faded. The myth of the pristine, untouched wilderness was born from this apocalypse. The rediscovery of these lost cities is about more than just old ruins. It fundamentally challenges a Eurocentric view of history, proving that complex, urban societies were not unique to the Old World. It shows us that for thousands of years, the Amazon was home to innovators who engineered their environment in a sophisticated and sustainable way. Their agroforestry, their water management, and their creation of terra preta offer profound lessons for us today as we face our own environmental crises. They prove that it is possible to support large populations while maintaining a healthy, biodiverse ecosystem. The story of the Amazon is not one of an untouched wilderness, but of a resilient, human-shaped landscape. And as Lidar continues to scan the forest, we can only wonder what other secrets, what other lost cities and histories are still waiting to be discovered, hidden in plain sight, just beneath the trees.